Howdy guys, how we doing? Welcome back to another video of Westland Survival. How we doing? Hope you guys are well. So, look what we have finally. We have the bandits. They're coming after us. Now it does say 6 hours and 55 minutes, but by the time that you guys are watching this, we would have dealt with these guys. But let's go ahead and close this, because now that this has actually triggered, I want to head over back to our home base here real quickly, and I just want to see exactly how this all works now that we've got the bandits chasing us. Now this is all to do with update 9.3. So the guys are over there, they are heading at the ranch. Now let's see if there's anything that's different if we interact with all of this. So if we can click on these guys, they're coming for our ranch. If you pay them, then they basically will be satisfied. So that hasn't changed. We've got this our guard. So I'll be definitely keen to see how this all works as well. But let's go ahead and enter our base. So let's see if we can actually interact with it within our base, of course. So let's just get rid of this. Okay. If we show the guard, he still doesn't show up. So I don't know how to trigger Colt Dutton, despite what was going on there. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not too sure where he would actually be. So even if we go into the build menu like I showed you guys in the previous video, we don't actually have anything that indicates where we could actually interact with our guard here. So I don't know exactly how this all sort of works, which is interesting, because normally, well, I would imagine that if we interact like this, then we should be able to see exactly where he would be. Otherwise, because this is the free week for everyone that actually has the super VIP, if it's already just set up for the sake of being set up, and then thereafter, if you do buy into it, whether you do the 7 days or the 28 days that you see here, will that actually be made available to us that we can position our guard, and then we can actually get into it? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just sort of looking at it and I'm thinking, well, you know, there should be a way for us to interact with our guard. So I don't understand why that is not the case. So yeah, but normally, because, and the only reason why I say this is if we look at the update teaser trailer, it shows the positioning and things like that, and it looks very reminiscent. The icon, sorry, looks very reminiscent to what we see in the Spirit Cave. So I'm thinking, well, you know, we should be able to have that that flexibility or that ability to begin with. So for those that may have experienced it, let me know in the comment section down below on what needs to be done or what I've actually missed, because that'd be very helpful, not just for me, but for others actually watching the video. So I'm actually keen to know how that all sort of works. And if you guys can show that, that'd be great, because at least this way we can have a bit of an understanding and I guess, you know, some better education around that sort of stuff. So I'm just grabbing a few things here while we're having a bit of a chat ski today, because I'd rather get myself fueled up and ready to go, because we are obviously going to take out a couple of these enemies with us today. I'm just going to sort everything out. It did say it was full, so I don't know why that happened. I'm guessing I've got a few things in here that I need to get rid of. No, I don't. Well, there you go. I think we're pretty much good here, but let's go ahead and, I don't know why he does that. He does that all the time. Go ahead and treat. There we go. Alright, so we've got our horsey up and running, but let me just quickly have a look at this. Okay. There's nowhere else. There's definitely nowhere else that we can actually interact with this. I know I'm sort of going round and round with this, but I just don't actually have an inkling as to how to actually position this, if this is the actual case or not. I have no idea, but let's see if we can do it from here. No? I don't know. Can we potentially do this and click on his photo or press on his photo and drag out? I don't know. Doesn't actually have that option there. So, to be perfectly fair, I don't actually know what and how that all sort of works, which is, I don't know, a little bit annoying because I'd love to see it. But anyway, now, the other thing I've noticed, and you guys can probably see on the screen here, it shows the icon on the right hand side next to our pockets and menu selections. We can skip the time and fight. Now, I don't know whether or not if Dutton would actually deploy, which is something that I'll be interested to see. But I'm already ready to go, and I've got a couple of VIP days that I need to cash in on, and we've got a few bits and pieces in there, so that's all good. But I'll be curious to see how this all sort of works, because apparently it's a little bit different. So, well, without delaying the fact, let's go ahead and get into it. To skip time. So it tells us that we can skip time and fight, and it's going to cost us 300. So that's interesting. So if we click on the bandits when we're outside in the map itself, it's going to cost us 300 coin. But if we're at our base and click on the icon on the right hand side, it's still going to cost us 300 coins. So I'm guessing we're going to get involved, and let's just go for it, because I'd rather do this. There we go. Now let's see where these guys are at. I don't even know where Dutton is either. Do we have to deploy him now? No, we don't actually have that option. But these guys are over here. Oh, there's Dutton. He's here. Interesting. Well, I'm taking these fellas out anyway now. These guys are all in a bit of a cluster, so I may as well make the most of it. Dutton, are you doing anything? Really, Dutton? So, what exactly were you supposed to be doing? Were you supposed to be doing anything? Do you want to come out here? Hey, come on, Dutton. Bloke's not doing anything. Oh. So, we've also got the Bandits stash map as well that we can select. So the guy ran away. I should have probably took him out anyway, but I didn't have anything that was stolen. I also did get a map as well. So let's select this. Are you sure you want to spend silver to buy a stashed map? It'll cost you 120. Purchase completed. It's in the order section. Okay, so that's a tier 6. So that's where it'll come up. So we can either utilize this, or I did also get one here. So it doesn't really change the fact, does it? It only happened because... Okay, I'll grab some of that. It only happened because we were sitting around and waiting for the fact and trying to work out what the hell Dutton's going to do, which, mind you, he didn't do anything. So I don't know what is going on with this. I don't know if this is something that the devs would need to look at in terms of why there wasn't any interaction. So number one, you couldn't show Colt Dutton, and you can't position him anywhere like it had in the teaser trailer. And then when he was deployed, he was automatically deployed. He was already there where all the bandits were, but he wasn't doing anything. So I don't know whether or not he had to wait for the bandits to penetrate the base and get in, and then he'll do something about it. But he looked just as lazy as what the bandits did here, as you guys just seen it now, because most of them were here. They were all crouched up here, so I was able to take them out fine. But there was one or two here that was just standing there and didn't do a single thing. So I'm not too sure how that sort of works, because I've noticed that the bandits have been very lazy, so to speak, and they just stand there until you engage them. So I don't know whether or not that needs to be looked at. I feel like it does as a rework, and it needs to sort of, change in a sense where, well, they're actually active and making it a little bit more difficult for the player, as in us, to try and defend our base. But if they're all just standing there, then it just makes our lives, as you've just seen in my experience just now, easier to take them out, because these guys were all in a cluster, so they weren't actually spread out and doing their own thing. And then you had some here that were just standing there waiting for things to happen. So if you didn't go outside and engage like I did, then nothing would have happened, right? So I don't know. But like I said, I feel like the whole construct around the rating system needs to be looked at. It's great that they sort of implemented a guard, but I feel like for what purpose now? Because again, as I mentioned, these guys haven't done anything. They've just stood there, and it took all of me to take them all out. So if they were a little bit more invasive, if they were a little bit more willing to take things apart and break things, and maybe attack from different angles to keep things moving, then maybe that would have had us running around, scrambling around. But also Colt Dutton would have had his hands full as well, and he would have tried to be taking out some of these bandits as well. So that's what I'm thinking that probably should happen in future updates. So devs, I know you watch my videos, so I would sort of like to see this being looked at, maybe investigated potentially, because I feel like it is a bug. But let's continue on. I want to see what is at the Bandit stash location, and let's see if we actually get anything of interest. If there's anything different, is there anything worth taking? And as you would have seen in my inventory, I've got about 20 of these alone, and I do have some other older ones which were tier 5 based of these maps here. So whether or not they're worth it, or I should probably just go through them anyway and just get some of the free resources. But even with this, and I've said this a lot of times as well, the rewards are very, very lackluster. And I only say that because we've had it like this for the longest time. And like I said, I've been wanting and try to lobby that this would be changed and altered. And I've suggested many times what I feel should be changed and should be updated. Like, obviously rewards is one thing, but make us work for the rewards, right? And make us, get better rewards as we go along. And if we continue to do our raid defense and things like that, then maybe potentially that we should have harder zones or harder ways of getting to the loot. So even doing this didn't even faze me at all. Completely fine. But like I said before, even the bandits themselves weren't doing that much, and it just basically dilutes the experience. So what I would love to see is a couple of things. For maybe, tiers 1 through to 3, have something very basic and set up like this, or even just tier 1, just to make life a little bit easier for those that are starting out. But as you sort of get on, then things like this should actually change. So what I thought about is a system where you would potentially do X amount of raid defenses, and let's say on the 5th or the 10th time that you are engaged in one, so there should be like a little counter or a meter, right? Maybe it could be interactive into here. See, there's a little meter gauge here. I think something like that should be also implemented for a separated line, where if you get to the quota, then that next raid will be a little bit more difficult, and then the map that we recover will also be difficult as well. So hear me out on this. So we defeat the raid, we get the more quote unquote specialized map, but then that map turns out to be like a bandits camp like we have in Westland. So let's just quickly jump out for a second and let me explain this a little bit easier. All right, so let's leave real quickly here. So we're out here, we've located the bandit stash, and let's say, for example, it looks like we go to a place like the Stone Outpost, for example, okay? For like lower levels, we go to, the mountain outpost, and then you've got the ones at the bottom, like the Interflu, and obviously, you've got the cultist camp, and then you've got the Digger's Den, which is further up in the Boreal Wilds. But what I would love to see is, timed events like that have actual camps that we need to go to, right? So it's not just one singular NPC waiting for you, and you can even just use, your bare knuckles to take out the enemy. You have to go there and actually take out the the whole entire camp, right? And maybe as a consequence, if you don't do that, then you'll have another wave coming at you, in the next, say, 6 to 8 hours, like it has just beforehand at the beginning of the video. So I feel like that could be something that the devs could look at. I reckon it'd be a kind of a cool mechanic, and it probably keeps us a little bit more engaged. And obviously, if we do take out the actual bandit stash location, then the rewards should be a lot more significant, I feel. I don't know. And maybe it could be on a basis of the more that you do, the harder that it gets, and it stays at that level until you advance in the game and you get a little bit more stronger, etc., etc. And then that way, we'll have that another event to look forward to. And I feel like that might be a little bit more of an engaging proposition. But that's just me. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of that. Like, think about it. For me, that I'm already tier 6, equipped and set up and all that sort of stuff, Bandit Stash could be somewhere, in the Burial Wilds, for example. It may not be as hard as what the Digger's Den is, as an example, but it could be something else where location just pops up and we can, head over there. We have to actually physically go to that location. So it's not just, in the main part of the map where our ranch is. It could be somewhere fairly far. And that way we could, take a lot more time and be a little bit more equipped to do all those tasks. I don't know. I just feel like that could be something that would be great. And as you do more, then it gets more difficult. Prices become a lot more better, a lot more improved. Things like that. I feel like something like that could happen. And of course, maybe fix the issue about how the bandits, act within the game in its current state. I don't know. But look, I'm rambling now, but I think I've got my point, put across. Alright guys, so let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are about this. Make sure you leave a like, share if you can, and if you guys are new to the channel or not, and you'd like to see more, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell icon so you don't miss out on any future videos. Alrighty guys, you take it easy from me, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.